When I joined the police back in the 1970s, there was one police investigation that really gripped the nation. It involved the brutal kidnapping and murder of a 17-year-old girl called Lesley Whittle by a man called Donald Neilson. What everybody remembers, it involves the kidnap and death of Lesley Whittle, a young 17-year-old heiress who had inherited some money off the death of her father. She was taken in the middle of the night from her own warm bed and taken to a tunnel. She was naked. She was tied up with wire, a bit like a hot cross bun, where she was bandaged across the head, down the nose and around the neck. She remained on a very, very narrow 2-foot platform, naked, cold, no food, no hot drink, must have been scared, absolutely witless, and she subsequently was murdered. But the kidnap and murder of Lesley Whittle was the culmination of Neilson's heinous criminal life. For almost a decade, he orchestrated a reign of terror as an armed robber. Dressed all in black, the press dubbed him the Black Panther. Whenever he was challenged, he killed without mercy. I've managed to track down Peter Toghill, who, whilst on his beat, walked into one of Neilson's murder scenes.
Hello.
Oh, good morning, Pete. My name's Jackie Malton, investigating the case of Lesley Whittle.
Yep.
I understand that you were a uniformed police officer, visited the post office, Master, Sid and Peggy, and on this particular morning, unfortunately found Sid dead. Can you tell me what happened that evening?
I was called out straight away to deal with the theft of a vehicle. After taking details of the car, I saw a light on in the post office and went to investigate.
A light on at the post office, after 10 o'clock at night, very unusual. Did you know the postmaster?
I knew Mr. and Mrs. Grayland quite well, yes.
So you see a light on, get out the car and investigate what happened, Pete?
I could see that there was money on the counter, but there was no sign of Mr. and Mrs. Grayland. So I went to the back door, which was ajar, tried to push it open and could see Mr. Grayland on the floor. Felt for a pulse, there was none. So realising he was dead, went into the back of the building, and at that point heard somebody counting, going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, then back to 10, just counting from 10 to 50. Could see a pile of boxes in the corner with a hat stand. These were moved, and Mrs. Grayland was there with severe injuries to her head. Was
Mrs. Grayland able to talk to you?
No, not at all. She was just counting over and over again.
Mrs. Grayland eventually recovered?
Yes.
Did she ever talk about that night to you?
Yes. Sid had opened the door, and there was obviously a bang. And Sid fell to the floor. And then he came in, and she said she tried to stop him.
What did you learn from all of the evidence that happened that night at Langley Post Office?
He obviously had cased the joint and used the canal to travel all the way to Dudley, where he left the car.
He was military background?
Military trained, yes.
So here was a man who did lots and lots of research before he committed the offence?
I believe so, yes. He was a very clever man. There's no doubt about that.
Did Mrs. Grayland ever speak to you about the impact on her life of the evening that Neilson killed her husband and severely injured her?
Only to say that the injuries that she received were still painful.